Hey friends, welcome to the channel. If you are looking for an effective and interesting way to improve your Spanish, you found the right video. Los geht's! My name is Dustin. I'm an IT project manager from Germany. On this channel we create content that helps us to be more productive, to learn new things, especially languages, and to live a happier and more fulfilling life. Today we'll be reviewing again a language learning app, and this time it's Jiveworld that wants to help you to learn Spanish as it's really spoken. It's supposed to train your ear and expand your vocabulary with authentic radio stories, so you can step into any conversation with confidence. That's the official claim. If that's true, we'll discover in this video. P.S. I've heard for the first time about Jiveworld from Alice Speaks, or Alice Speaks? I'm not sure, who runs also a language learning YouTube channel and works for Jiveworld. If you are interested, have a look here. That being said, let's dive into today's hour. First, you know what comes next? A nice sip of coffee. Los geht's! So this app basically relies on the massive consumption of comprehensible and compelling input, which means to read and listen to content that is interesting as well as at the right level for you to be understood. By following the theory of second language acquisition by Stephen Krashen, you'll be able to assimilate the language like a child does without extensively studying grammar pattern. What needs to be mentioned here is that the target group for this app are intermediate learners who want to overcome the intermediate plateau and get away from classroom or artificial to native level content. There's also an emphasis on the power of listening and not only reading, and as I also always advise to do both in order to develop an overall comprehension on the language and then also having an easier time to produce the language at a later stage. For that, Jiveworld focuses on real natural day-to-day speech, so no slow artificial dialogues that don't reflect the real spoken language. But then of course it can be hard to learn with native speaker content because that only gets accessible for us usually at an intermediate or sometimes even just at an advanced level. And this is where Jiveworld shines. It takes high quality conversations that tell intriguing stories to teach you words, phrases and idioms in context. The stories are from the famous radio and podcast Radio Ambulante, who produce real stories for the Spanish-speaking world, and you can listen to them for free, and the link is also in the description. They even offer free transcripts. Because of the emotions we experience when delving into a story, it'll facilitate our learning tremendously. It makes the content comprehensible by breaking the story up into smaller pieces and then adding passage hints, controls for changing speed, different listening modes, as well as teaching vocabulary by chunking words into expressions where useful and carefully crafting idiomatic definitions. They also look for irregular usage and listen out for words and word groups that might be difficult to catch by ear, as well as adding listening notes with cultural references, accents or aspects of usage that might be helpful for you. And then they also try to encourage you to get into a flow state by providing a minimalistic app design that gives you only exactly what you need at one specific time. So first of all, Jiveworld is available as a web app in a browser of your choice, as well as for iOS and Android. In this video we review the app version mainly, but we'll also have a short look at the browser version later. So now let's have a look at the app together. This is the starting screen. As you can see here, it says Hola Dustin. It gives me then the days of my streak. So I have a 2-day streak right now, and it also shows you the points that you have achieved, and it's just an indicator of your progress, so not much more behind that. And then you see also on top a new here video that you could watch if you want to see how the app actually works. And you'll get it at the first login, and then yeah, it stays there until you mark it finished. And I would say skip all video guides. It even has more guides on all the different functions of the app. But since the app is very minimalistic, yeah, you can probably figure it out yourself. Then you see today's soundbite, and that's pretty cool because each day there is a free soundbite. So even if you don't have a premium membership, you'll get that. More on the soundbites later, so we don't dive into that now. Then you see where you were, so you can just pick up where you left off the last day, for example. Then you see further stories that are grouped by different topics. For example, stories about friendship, history and memory, stories from Guatemala. And then they also have collections where they group the stories based on a common denominator. For example, fronteras, things that happen that happen when lines are crossed. And it's about borders, but not only physical borders, but borders of all kinds. So they grouped it in this way. That's quite cool. That's quite cool to find the next story you want to study. Down here you see also Radio Ambulante, which is the podcast where actually all the stories within Jiveworld originate from. Important thing to notice here is that not all stories from Radio Ambulante are to find in Jiveworld. So they haven't processed all the stories. If you want to have more material or want to listen to more stories, make sure to also check out the site. You'll get also free transcripts there and can also listen to all the podcasts for free. And the quality is just awesome. I would say one of the best podcasts in the Spanish-speaking world. This is now the overview of all stories. And the really cool thing is that you can filter. You can go on top. You can filter by unplayed, study later, in progress, or complete. Study later means you can create your own queue of stories you want to study. So if you are walking through the stories and you see something that might be interesting for you, you can, for example, click on the 3 points here and put them to study later. And then you can also filter for country. And this is really useful if you want to study a specific accent. For example, let's say Guatemala. And then you see the stories for Guatemala. And there are only 4. This is one of the negative points, that you don't have the similar amount of stories for each of the different regions. But more on that also later. And you can also filter by topic. So for example, if you want to learn something more about languages in specific, then we can do that, filter for that, and then you already see there are 8 different stories which are mainly about a language. And that's all about the overview. Now let's have a look at a story together. It should be a short one. So Miedo I already did. La Fe de Amalia. That sounds good. La Fe de Amalia. To regain her freedom, Amalia needs to find her missing car. When Amalia Moreno's car is stolen, her entire life is thrown upside down. Her hard-earned independence is threatened, and all she can do is pray. And this is the overview about the story. And here you can click on View Resources and Credits. And the nice thing is that you see the different voices. So if you want to work on a specific accent, this is crucial. You see the host is from Peru, Lima, and you see Amalia Moreno is from Guatemala. So this is important. If you filter by a specific region, the story is normally about the specific region. But sometimes when you have a story from a different region, like for example from the US in this case, you can sometimes also find voices that might be useful for you. So for example, if I would want to work on my comprehension for the Guatemalan Spanish, this would be crucial to also have a look at those if I don't have, or if I have studied already all the other stories. Okay, you can see also that it's from the US. You can see it's about religion, it's uplifting. And now let's have a look into the story and how actually the app works. You click on begin, and then you see the first chapter, Una pérdida significativa. And you see here begin chapter, and that's what we're gonna do now. You get some notes about the story where they explain specific elements. So for example, tarde o temprano, sooner or later. Note that this expression is very similar to its English equivalent, but that the order of the terms is reversed. The same thing happens with blanco y negro. And then further down there's another explanation. Okay, got it. And then you just click on play.
Digamos que Oakland, California no es una ciudad perfecta. Viví allí por más de 7 años y es difícil no extrañarla. Tiene un buen clima y una de las poblaciones más diversas del país.
And as you can see here, I've clicked on the pause button and it didn't pause immediately. It only pauses after the short paragraph. So you have a more natural stop. You can listen to it, you can listen to the end of it, and then it won't get you out of your reading flow or listening flow. And as you can see here, it explains already vocabulary. So the vocabulary that the app thinks is most likely to be unknown for you. So buen clima and poblaciones. Poblaciones is populations. And now if we want to have this word in our vocabulary list, we can click on plus. And on the top right, you see it now here within our vocabulary items. And that's pretty neat. And then you see also down here, there's a slug, which reduces the reading speed. And you can also go back. So now let's click on the slug, for example.
Clima y una de las poblaciones más diversas del país.
And now it read the same paragraph, just in slow. Okay, that's about that. And then on the right down here, you can also go to the translation in English if you need it. I would try to use those translations not if possible, because this way, you can better work on your comprehension.
Pero los residentes se quejan de la falta de seguridad y cada año queda rankeada entre las ciudades más peligrosas de Estados Unidos. Este último dato es importante, es que a todos, tarde o temprano, la delincuencia les toca, incluyendo a esta mujer.
Mi nombre es Amalia Moreno, soy de Sanarat del Progreso, Guatemala, y vivo en Oakland, California.
And there you see you had an introduction by the host, and then you get to the main character of the actual story. And this way you progress through the whole story. After you have listened to this specific chapter like this, you can get to the second listening phase where you would listen to it like this. So here, let's go to the top. So here you don't see the words anymore and you listen to it kind of blind, and this way you can really improve your comprehension. Let's see how it looks like.
Sabemos que Oakland, California no es una ciudad perfecta. Viví allí por más de 7 años y es difícil no extrañarla. Tiene un buen clima y una de las poblaciones más diversas del país. Pero los residentes se quejan de la falta de seguridad y
And this is pretty cool. So you only see the length of the words. This way, as mentioned, you can further improve your comprehension. So now let's have a look at the sound bites together. All the different categories for the sound bites are useful patterns, vocabulary, grammar, strategies, speech and accents, idioms and sayings, history and culture, as well as vernacular and slang. One thing important to notice is that not each story has sound bites. For example, La Fe de Amalia doesn't have sound bites, but Miedo, for example, has. And that's one of the stories that you can also study for free without even having the premium version. So you go to Soundbites, and here you see already different signs. And let's click on the first one, Comenzando desde el principio. And you see what it's about. It's about useful patterns, so versatile language structures that boost your fluency. And there's also, for example, this one here, which is about vocabulary, interesting words and expressions, and this one here, which is about grammar. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So, challenge. Hernando travels to London to study English. Which class do they assign him to initially at the language school? Hint, listen for the pattern ni siquiera sino to guide you to the correct answer. And then you would listen to it. Oops. Like this.
A Londres llegué en octubre de 1996 sin hablar una sola palabra de...
Okay, and then you would listen to the whole thing, and then in the end you get some insights. And then it's about, he explains, they placed me in not even the class called beginners, but instead elementary. In Spanish, of course, over that. And they explain the patterns ni siquiera, sino, not even, but rather, and the related no, sino, are great for storytelling. Keep them handy to emphasize the humor or absurdity of a situation. Here's a dialogue that combines them. And then they take that thing and apply them to different dialogues. And this is super useful because now you could go ahead and if you find something that speaks to you or that could be useful for your own conversations, you could pick and then reuse. And this is really crucial and useful. I can really recommend to do that. So if you are having online conversations with a teacher, for example, you can prepare yourself by studying those expressions and then reuse them in your own conversations. Super useful. And those are the sound bites. Now let's have a look at the rest of the app. So you see sound bites. Here's an overview of all the sound bites based on when you have consumed them. You can see my stats that shows you the streak and how much you have learned this week and what your longest streak has been, the number of sound bites completed, stories completed, chapters completed, and also the amount of minutes you have listened to the stuff. Haven't done that much, to be honest, and just subscribed to the premium version, but enough to actually see all the features of the app. And here you can see also more info about your account. And this is how the browser version looks like. The functionality is identical and the minimalistic design can also be found here. So whatever you prefer, it'll be fine. I haven't found any negative points besides that there could be more stories available for specific Spanish-speaking regions like Spain, for example, or Bolivia, Chile, Cuba, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Uruguay, or also Guatemala. The most stories, on the other hand, can be found for Argentina, Colombia, Mexico, Peru, and of course, America. And another thing that could improve the app further is to have flashcards for the vocabulary, to review them regularly, or maybe an export function to get them into a different app. So you can download and test it for free. You'll get 2 full stories as well as 1 daily free soundbite. This should be enough to see if you like the app or not. Also, if you just want to listen to the stories and read along with the transcripts, those are for free at Radio Ambulante. The pricing for the app is currently at about $12 per month or $8.25 per month if you get a yearly subscription. Unfortunately, when it comes to payment options, there's no PayPal, but just credit card available to choose from. If you are an intermediate learner of Spanish and you want to overcome the intermediate plateau by focusing specifically on your reading and listening comprehension, Jiveworld could be the right option for you. With a wide variety of interesting stories from the whole Spanish-speaking world that you can even filter for your interests or learning needs, it'll never be boring. Also, it does a great job in making content more comprehensible and giving you the right tools at hand to process the language in the most effective way. If, on the other hand, you got, for example, LingQ already, then you can probably save the money and just import the podcast episodes with transcripts. Nevertheless, Jiveworld can be a nice addition to your language learning, especially if you take the sound bites and try to incorporate the things you like in your conversation. But remember, if you want to learn to speak a language, you need to speak. There's just no way around it. Yes, there are techniques that help you to practice alone, but in the end, you have to speak either way. Please let me know in the comments if you have tried already Jiveworld or if you are planning to do it. Here's also a video about my favorite language learning app, and here's the playlist for more videos about how I learn Spanish. If you found the video useful, please leave me a like and a subscription to the channel, and do not miss anything going forward. Click also on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching and see you the next time.